Mel B cast aside her once wild girl reputation for her wedding last weekend, stunning guests and onlookers by the lack of hard partying and excess, with most of the guests heading home by 7 p.m. The Spice Girl, 50, who has previously boasted of late-night booze-fueled sex and taking cocaine 6 times a day, held her third nuptials in London, tying the knot with hairstylist Rory McPhee, 37. But after a lavish ceremony at St. Paul's Cathedral, including a horse and carriage, she took pals and family to a bar at the Shard skyscraper for a bash which many expected to rage well into the early hours. The wedding party arrived at the reception at 4:30 p.m. However, most of Mel's guests had headed for home by 7 p.m., with many having already changed into casual clothing following just over 2 hours of socializing. As one guest put it, "I'd sort of thought for Scary Spice it would be a massive late-night party with all the usual showbiz excess, but it was the total opposite. It was actually rather low-key. Perhaps she's grown up a lot in the last few years and settled down. It was all a long way from how she used to be." Mel's children, Phoenix, 26, and Angel, 18, spent much of the festivities stood outside the hotel entrance smoking rolled-up cigarettes, with security even moving them away from the well-heeled venue to avoid upsetting other residents and visitors. The news of Mel's subdued celebrations comes after it was previously reported that she and her new husband were expected to throw a huge party in the sky amid their 28,000-pound lavish celebrations at the Shard. At the Shangri-La venue inside the building, friends and family were expected to dance into the small hours, as the party of the century had been promised by the bride and groom. One source involved in the wedding said, "It is going to be huge. The Shard is the most fantastic venue with unforgettable views, so it will make for the most memorable event. It is conveniently close to St. Paul's, too. It's third time lucky for Mel, so she is going to go all out and celebrate." The Shard says that brides and grooms can celebrate their special day in the clouds with enchanting London views. Your special day will be as breathtaking as your love story, and that is exactly what Mel wants. However, there's more celebrating to come for the happy couple, as they're set to host a second wedding in Morocco, which has been described as informal and sexy. The second nuptials will be offer her Spice Girls bandmates a second chance to attend her wedding celebrations after only Emma Bunton attended the big day at St. Paul's Cathedral on Saturday. Mel C, 51, and Victoria Beckham, 51, both paid tribute to the bride and groom after they were forced to miss the wedding. However, Jerry Halliwell has so far failed to acknowledge the star-studded day. Gary will be given the chance to extend an olive branch to Mel if she attends the North African ceremony, which holds a significance for the girl band. In 2015, the Spice Girls had a mini reunion in Morocco when they jetted there to celebrate David Beckham's 40th birthday. Sporty, Posh, Baby, and Ginger looked in great spirits as they posed for snaps at the event. But ironically, this time Mel B was the only Spice Girl not in attendance. Instead, Eva Longoria filled in for Scary, joking, "I'm the new Spice Girl, Latina Spice." Now, there will be chance to get a snap of the full lineup in Morocco if they attend Mel's second wedding in the summer, which she has described as more informal, sexy, and beautiful. Mel B told The Sun of her plans for a second wedding to Rory later this summer and said she'd already splashed out on a gown to wear. "In one incredible afternoon, I found 2 perfect dresses. One beautiful classic dress by Josephine Scott, a British designer, and one stunning dramatic dress by a U.S. designer, Justin Alexander." Guests, including Alan Carr and Lee Francis, were quick to offer their congratulations, while fellow bandmate Jerry remained silent. The pair have a tempestuous relationship and at times have struggled to be in the same room without there being animosity. Jerry continued to snub Mel B on Sunday after her lavish wedding weekend, while the likes of Heidi Klum, Paloma Faith, and Carrie Katona led the stars sending the Spice Girl congratulatory messages following the ceremony. However, other Spice Girl Victoria was quick to comment under Mel's post saying, "Congratulations, we hope you had an amazing day. X-kisses." Melanie Brown, better known as Mel B or Scary Spice from the iconic girl group Spice Girls, has long been a fixture in the public eye, not just for her chart-topping music and electrifying performances, but also for her candid personality, fierce fashion, and highly publicized personal life. Over the decades, Mel B has transformed from a wild, edgy pop star into a powerful advocate for women's rights, a devoted mother, and a woman determined to reclaim her narrative. So when news broke that she had tied the knot for the third time, fans and media outlets expected a raucous, star-studded affair full of Spice Girls glam and celebrity sparkle. But what unfolded was quite the opposite. Mel B surprised everyone by opting for a low-key wedding ceremony and reception that reportedly saw most guests leaving by 7 p.m., a far cry from her wilder days. But don't worry, this story doesn't end with an early night and polite goodbyes. Mel has hinted that a second, much steamier and more informal and sexy bash is on the horizon in none other than Morocco. Let's take a deep dive into the full timeline, the decision-making behind the wedding, the details of the ceremony, the early departures, and her upcoming Moroccan celebration.